solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's all we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes to build your day. And all the things that will feel happen like God blue skies. And nothing make people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play your role, get where you need to. You can tune in from work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait till the time calling? It's a show with no matter even if you're at home. Just call in. WB. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself. This is a show, my people. Belize our hope, so to needless reason. Your body feeling out is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's all we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes to build your bay. And all the things that will feel happen like God blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB.
Good morning, Belize. Welcome to the WB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes for today, Wednesday, the 5th of February 2025. We hope that you are getting off to a beautiful start to your day. And of course, we're always happy because the yayo started. We know you could be other places. We know you could just be chilling. You could be listening to music. You could just take one morning run, but you linked with the zinc. It's nice, beautiful, we love it. Because this is where we present Belize's premier morning conversation, and we depend on people. We depend on presence. More than anything, we depend on participation. Of course, we want to welcome everybody to the house. If you got us in your earphones, listening to Creme Radio, you're watching us on XTV, your big screen, nice. You got us on your social media streams, that works. On your apps, you got it downloaded on your particular device, and that's nice, and that works for us. Or simulcast coverage. Anyway you get you, we glad you are here, and we trust that as you got up this morning, you have great health, which is the only wealth. You've got that energy right up through the ceiling. You've got the vibrations, positive, surrounding you, and while you're drink your cup of tea, you prepare your Milo, your Johnny cake, and them extra things getting your day started. You're ironing some clothes for get ready to go out. You're in your car right now to move to work or move away from work because you've been there all night. You know what? We just welcome you to the house. And right now we've got the preliminaries. We call it the warm-ups, which means that we get you up to date with the news. But before we do that, we've got the morning's weather forecast. That comes straight from the National Met Service. That means we've got a forecaster lined up for you, and we've got Francisco Wellington to tell us what the weather is going to look like.
Morning, relatively moist conditions will end tonight with a few showers around the country. A few showers will continue to affect the country Thursday, decreasing Thursday night. Winds today will blow from the east at 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be moderate. Low tides will occur at 8:47 this morning and 11:04 tonight. High tides follow at 3:03 this afternoon and 5:33 tomorrow morning. Temperatures this afternoon will peak at 72 Fahrenheit up in the Maya Mountains, 84 along the coast, and 86 inland. The moon will rise at 11:34 this morning, and sunset is at 5:50 this evening. In the sargassum forecast, while surface observations have shown a slight increase in sargassum reaching some beaches across the country, satellite imagery continue to suggest very low amounts over the region. Therefore, impacts are expected to remain minimal at least for the next few days. Sargassum will then likely increase towards the end of the month. That's the latest from the Belize Weather Bureau. Do have a pleasant day.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989, Creme FM presents the news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports. And now, the news.
And now we've got what's making news this morning. In the wake of firefighters in Belize City last Friday going on a go-slow, on Tuesday they upped the ante and staged a sick-out at the city's two fire stations. That is, the makeshift headquarters at the Marion Jones Sporting Complex and the station on the south side. As a result, it was mechanics who responded to a fire that broke out in Belize City Tuesday morning. The discontent of the firefighters became public last week when they revealed that their overtime hours had been slashed. They also complained of their subpar working conditions due to the lack of a proper fire station at the Marion Jones Sporting Complex. They said they have insufficient sleeping quarters with aged bedding and that the area is infested with pests, including raccoons. They also complained that they lack proper protective gear and that trucks are in a less than desirable condition. Notably, the industrial action comes despite a meeting on Monday when 13 firefighters from the various fire stations across the country sat with the CEOs of the Ministries of Disaster Risk Management and Public Service, as well as with the Public Service Union President, Dean Flowers. Disaster Risk Management CEO Kennedy Carrillo told the media after the meeting that it was successful.
Obviously, some of the concerns that they have had in terms of adjustments that needed to be made with their overtime led them to come to quite a productive discussion with us that not only addressed this, but some of the other concerns that we are very well aware of and responding to. First of all, in regards to the overtime that had to be adjusted, as everyone knows, we are quickly coming to the end of the fiscal year. And unfortunately, historically, the fire department has always been one of those departments that is sometimes under budgeted because, as you know, fires are very unpredictable. So you may be able to estimate a certain budget and then you end up with a lot more fires. And obviously, the overtime would then be adding up. And so throughout the year, the ministry has ensured that the firefighters have been receiving their overtime. As a matter of fact, we know that there are instances where some firefighters receive more overtime than the actual salary. And so with the end of the year, fiscal year coming very close, we had to make some adjustments to make sure that we could make it to the end of the fiscal year. I want to say that, sometimes maybe the message was not carried in the best way, and this created some discontent among the firefighters. And so some of them took to the media, which is their right. And like I told them this morning, it also helped us to really understand how important this is to them.
Carrier also said that since Friday, they reached out to the Ministry of Finance and discussed the issue with Prime Minister Honorable John Briceño, and that they were reviewing if they could procure funds to meet the gaps. She said all was explained to the firefighters and they seemed to be pleased following the meeting.
As is throughout the public service, not only for the fire department, concerns in terms of allowances, concerns as it relates to promotions, to transfers, to increments. And so we took the opportunity to update them on what the ministry has done, especially since Minister Perez took over as Minister of Disaster Risk Management with responsibility for the fire department. We have been able to bring on board quite a number of administrative staff, finance officer, administrative officer, to address some of those concerns, in addition, of course, to looking at promotions and restructuring of the organization. And so they were very satisfied, first of all, that we welcomed them to the discussion. We did not run and hide. We were, able to sit with them, listen to their concerns, give them the assurance of what we're working on. And I think that all in all, it was a very productive meeting, and everyone left very positive and hopeful of positive outcomes.
Firefighters have additionally complained that they are now required to do even more work since EMT service was added to their responsibilities. This is the first time we're hearing of firefighters complaining about their overtime hours being cut during this time of the year. Fire Chief Colin Gillett provided further explanation, stating that because the new recruit of 80 firefighters has been approved, firefighters must start getting used to the fact that when the new officers come on board, they will no longer be receiving as much as they do now in overtime. Minister Andre Paris is responsible for disaster risk management, and in response to the issue raised by the firefighters, he said they must learn to live with their salary alone rather than on depending on exorbitant overtime. Well, yesterday, Dean Flowers, the president of the Public Service Union, had some very strong words for Paris. He also told us that firefighters from Dangriga wrote a letter to the minister to express their discontent with his remarks.
He pointed out that the minister, Andre Paris, was very insensitive in his remarks yesterday. And in affording him some slack, it is my understanding that he may have spoken prior to the conclusion of the meeting. Now, I am saying if he does not have all the facts, and if he has not been briefed by his CEO, then why will he behave like Donald Trump? Why would he behave like Donald Trump and speak from out of his rear? And that really rubbed the firefighters them really wrong. It really rubbed them wrong. They fired off another letter today from the Dangriga branch, and the other districts are expressing their equal dissatisfaction with these comments. This is what you signed up for. It is now your responsibility to fix it. And we expect that you will fix it, because the guys have had enough. They're really frustrated, and I want to caution the minister from making these insensitive comments in the future about trying to tell grown men and women how to spend their money. That is none of your business, sir. That is absolutely none of your business. Nobody is checking and telling you how to spend your base salary or your thousands of dollars in allowances. So for goddamn sake, stop it.
Flowers also responded to the comments of the fire chief about firefighters now needing to get used to smaller allowances because more firefighters are coming on board.
The cutting of overtime may have exposed and brought us here. It is not overtime that the officers are fighting for. The overtime was keeping the officers at bay, were keeping them at ease, despite the injustices of the denial of several benefits that is due to them, that are to have been paid to them. Did you see the chief fighting for these officers to be paid $300 like every other public officer? Now he comes with repeating the nonsense that the minister uttered last night about the officers that the officers need to get used to making less overtime. As far as I'm concerned, the chief and the minister and the government of Belize can keep all the overtime that they wish to keep by simply paying the officers what is due to them. Please have the chief and the minister get that through their skull. It's not about overtime, and you will not pretend to care by restoring overtime, including illegally paid overtime. And when I say illegally paid overtime, I dare challenge an audit. And as a matter of fact, we're calling for an audit. And look at those overtime sheets that is signed by certain officers in the higher ups in that department. They're illegal. They do not work those hours that they're claiming. And all of these things are now coming to light. And we will not stop. The union will not withdraw its support for our firefighters until such time that an audit is done on overtime payments that has been made to certain officers, especially in the hierarchy, until an audit is done on the inventory of that department to account for those boots that are missing, for those shirts that are missing, until an audit is done to account for the monies that has been allocated, which we understand has been mismanaged and misappropriated in that department. The audit department needs to get in there. We have asked CEO Career to call for one. We're demanding one. We expect that she will support such a call to expose corruption and to get rid of those officers who have abused of their authority and continue to abuse and intimidate and bully the officers within the fire department.
Flores responded to the point of view that firefighters do not respond to fires or emergencies every single day.
Allowances are tied to a post and they're paid monthly. Let me start from the top. We would have raised hell and exposed abuse by cabinet members who receive an entertainment allowance in excess of $1,000. I believe they will receive an entertainment allowance of $1,500. Who do they entertain every single day? Then they get a monthly constituency fund. Some of them get to the tune of $20,000. Who accounts for that $20,000 that some ministers get? You have your CEOs. I believe they get 1,000. Who do they entertain every day? You have your HODs who get 750. Who do they entertain every day? There's telephone allowance. Who do they call on their personal phone on their own personal expense? Absolutely no one. So it is unfair to say that fire service firefighters are not deserving of $200 because they don't respond to a fire every day. The fact remains that responding to one single fire per month exposes them to certain risk. And the government is in violation of the Fire Act, the law, which should provide insurance coverage for them. So that little $200 is merely to allow them to pay for whatever harm could possibly come to them. So I wouldn't advise the government or anybody to make such a proposition or to establish such a position, because it won't hold, because that is not how allowances work. All right. Once you do the job, you're exposed, and you can be exposed once in your lifetime, and that's it. So if a firefighter goes out there and gets electrocuted, as has occurred, or gets burned and damaged, that's basically what they get, $200.
When a house fire broke out in Belize at close to 11 Tuesday morning, it was the fire service mechanics who had to respond to the fire, which occurred off Neil's Pen Road extension. No one was at home at the time, and the house was completely destroyed. The owner, security guard Yvette Bernades, shared that she had 4 children. She and her 4 children have been displaced. The cause of the fire is being investigated, but Bernades told us that the fire appears to have started from the back of the house.
But he said the fire came from behind the house.
Where there's no wiring.
Where there is no wiring, yes, ma'am.
Which is kind of indicating it may have been arson.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that. They have to come back and do a thorough investigation tomorrow.
Now, can you talk to me about how many of you have been impacted and the losses that you've suffered?
Well, we lost a lot. I have 4 children, 17 years old, 18 years old, 13 and 12 years old, myself. And we have so many things in the house. I just bought a TV for my children for them to watch and stuff like that. But I even bought a machine and I haven't even used it yet. But we have, yes, ma'am. I paid $500 for it, but I have everything. I don't know where to start from, but I don't understand the reason why this has happened. But I think everything happened for a reason. But I always say that where there's a will, there will always be a way. So I just find it hard when they call me. I almost faint. I was at work and I was running from complex building, and a lady said, "Come in, let me take you." And this was what I meet. Everything just went to the ground. Well, totally, I think it was nearly I'd say more than 20,000, but that's just the best I could do right now, because sofa, fridge, microwave, everything is in there. 2 TV, I had everything in my house.
It was a wooden structure.
It was wooden and zinc. It was 24 by 18, I think.
Okay. And how long had you been living here?
I'm back here for 3 years.
Speaking about the impact of the sick out on, on the response to the fire, Gladstone Buckner, the station officer responsible for the entire Belize district, said the firefighters have 16 days of sick leave annually, so that is the right of the firefighters to use their sick days.
The firefighters, they might not feeling well, they call in sick. By law, we have 16 days within the year, so they're just utilizing their rights, calling in sick.
How many called in sick for both stations?
It will be approximately a few officers. Let me leave it as that.
I heard 8. Is that a correct figure?
A few officers. I'll leave it as that.
Well, then can you tell me how many officers there are in Belize City?
We have enough officers in Belize City.
But so then today we're told it's the mechanics who had to respond to this fire. Is that correct?
From time to time, we use mechanics. Mechanics come out and assist us, especially when you have troubles with maybe the engine on the ground. We do utilize mechanics from time to time.
Okay, but if it is that this sick out continues, how do you expect it's going to impact the fire service? Like, how long can they sick out? I know you say 16, but...
The thing is, each individual is responsible for their own action. And like I said, that's their right. We can't say they are not sick. We're not doctors. So they have the right to call in sick.
Now added that the mechanics are well versed with the trucks and they know how to operate them. If you wish to help the family rebuild, you can call Bernardus at 607-5500. Her bank account number is 112-12913 at Heritage Bank. There was commotion at the northern border yesterday after car dealers questioned a proposed change in valuation procedures based on a leaked memo from the Customs and Excise Department dated January 6, 2025. The car dealers said the proposed change would mean higher fees when importing used cars into the country. The situation escalated when, in an attempt to seek answers, they were escorted off the compound by a senior department official. The men then temporarily blocked access to the Santa Elena border in response. The leaked memo from the department details a proposed change to the valuation procedures of cars being imported into the country. According to the memo, the transaction value method shall be the primary basis for the valuation of imported goods into the country, which also includes motor vehicles. The car dealers at the border said this will result in higher fees. A registered car dealer, Albert Leslie, explained why the proposed change would be more expensive for them. He said they feel the government is being pressured by international automotive manufacturers. Leslie also said that the car dealers will meet this week and organize a protest, as well as to try to meet with the Prime Minister.
They are charging us a different type of duty. They used to do a residual duty on the vehicles that we bring in. No, they don't want to do any residual duty. They just want to evaluate direct off the bill of sale. And the vehicles that used to pay like $3,000–4,000 in duty now will pay $8,000 in duty. But I don't know why they are bringing pressure on the poor people like that, because the poor people is the one who's going to suffer. Because now you can't sell poor people cars, because people only have a certain amount of money to buy a car. Okay? So when I came into the country yesterday, I get the news that the government, they will do direct with bill of sale, no residual duty. So that's what some of us are concerned about. But I don't know what's the problem with some car dealers, because like they're afraid for victimization. You understand? They're afraid that the government victimize them because of their rights. And I don't think that is right. So today they put us out the compound because they said they thought we was going to do a ruction in there, but we are not going to do any ruction in the compound. All I was telling the dealers them, so that we don't pay any duty today, so that the government understand that we need help. We can't afford to pay the duty that they're charging us.
What are some of the other dealers saying? Are they also singing from that same hymn like you? Or?
Well, everybody is singing, right? But the problem is the victimization. That's what they're afraid of. You understand?
How would you like this to be solved?
Well, I would like them to put it back the same way it was before.
Interestingly, after contacting a few car dealerships in Belize City, we were told that they were unaware of the proposed changes themselves and were in the process of learning more about it and how it would affect them. We've also reached out to a senior customs and excise department officer for clarification, but as of news time, they have not responded to our query. That ends our morning news update. We take a small break, come back on the other side, we lift off in conversation. You are listening to Creme Radio, you're watching XTV.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989. The news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports.
Belize Morning Vibes, Wednesday, 5th February 2025, and this is a conversation, so that means that we need more than one person, so can't just left it by me. If you run my mouth, you need to do your part, and that's why we got a phone here. It's 280-5848. That is the live line for you to participate in the conversation. We want to hear from you, want to get you on board, and have you engage and reason. Right? That's what we do here weekday mornings. And now we set off. Nobody in the line, so I have to take the responsibility to proceed. Now, yesterday we spent some time asking out loud for answers to how a 6-year-old child was able to get off the Stella compound, and we wanted more than what had been presented. We know that there was some indication that this is going to be looked into. We assumed at the very least that there would be a significant effort to try to understand this, but it doesn't take away from just how awful a tragedy this is. And somebody wanted me to watch the video of apparently the video of the child. There's video footage of the child on what appears to be his run to the hangar, and I refused. I didn't want to see that. That's just a little too much, but I understand. I feel brethren, and I imagine the family that is consistent. The pain would then go through. Like, if a child gets sick and have some disease that we can't cure, and your child dies, like, that is sad and difficult. But just to lose a child in circumstances like this, I feel, though I've not lost a child personally, I can't imagine, amplify the anguish that you have to go through. And so I actually, yesterday when I spoke on the matter, I was uncertain as to what exactly I pass, like many people, we pass Stella Maris because it's centrally located where a lot of traffic, so it's an area that I would pass. You pass, if not every day, enough time for the week. So yesterday when I passed, I checked to see what was the condition of the fencing. Did they have presence at the gate? There is a booth at the gate. The gate is extremely wide. And even when I passed yesterday, the gate was wide open. But we heard from the father who says usually there is a process of checking in, the gate is not open, and that kind of stuff. And again, the matter is being looked into. That is just an awful situation, and unbelievably to me that you had people who, there were several attempts at an intervention on seeing the child on the street. And I was listening to the Morning Stew yesterday, and they were pointing out that, the difference between, Groove being in the rural area and Mr. Frisco being from the city is that seeing a child on the street is not anything that stands out in the city, because children are out on the street unsupervised as kind of like the norm. So to me, the fact that there were people who saw this, at least according to the report, there was somebody who saw the child and called, I think, 911, at least listening to Morning Stew. There might have been, according to the news report that I read, there might have been some students from the high school who tried to hold the child. That is extremely warming and should not be, and unbelievable to me. I think that from what, again, listening to the Morning Stew, that there might have been some backlash against the person who called 911, and like this stew hosts pointed out, like, that's incredible, because just that kind of is for that person to do that. I mean, that's significant to my mind. That's this person doing, just being one good community person. Obviously, based on the reports I've seen and I've read, I've heard, there were people who tried to see how they could, just kind of get involved with this situation. And we have to give respect to that. Like, how many of us in traffic will see a child on the street and actually pause to say, what's going on? Oh, okay. Bear with me, please. I have to. Yeah. Forgive me for that. Okay. So, it's just, for me, it's just to reflect on yourself. If you see a child, you don't generally will stop and say, okay, what's going on? Why are you here? Why are you there? Like, especially in the city, that is not something that we will do, right? Like, we're moving about our business and we focus, our minds are away from all of that. And am I saying that that is the best way for us to be? No, but that's just the way we are. And so to lash out at someone who actually took the time to try to call emergency services, the question would be, well, what exactly did the emergency service do in response? How adequate was that? And how prompt was that? I think that should be as much a part of the whole investigative process. There's a lot to talk about and a lot that we have, but for me, like, when something like this happens, and I appreciate the fact that we had Ms. Christie coming out yesterday, available for the media and giving comments. But if we just, okay, well, we can't bring back, if we go in we can't bring back the child mode, and, it's like, ultimately, if we just leave things like that, that's one sure way of knowing that something like this is very well likely to happen again at some point in time. You cannot just leave a child that is on the autistic spectrum going to a special educational institution, because the Stella Maris is special. The work that it does is very special. And again, many families in Belize have a child who might have that special need, and they have to travel this. They don't love their child any less. You would not love your child any less. So we know that they present special challenges. They have special requirements, and we now have to look at whether or not the resources that have been put into this institution support the kind of special challenges that they face. We cannot do that if we don't have a thorough examination of everything that went wrong, everything that happened on Monday, and we have to ensure that we get a thorough report back on this. Like, this can't be, well, when Hyde Turner looking into, and okay, this, no, this is, you have a child, you have children, you understand, you understand a parent's pain, you understand that those parents lost, that family's lost, and you have a sense of, while you might not know, I don't know the persons in question, that doesn't matter. We are in this community together. We're in this community. And I think it was Dr. Gale who said we have to understand that a community is not a bus, it's a spaceship. You could get off at the bus, but in a spaceship, what happens to the spaceship happens to everybody. So if something going wrong, that everybody at risk. So that's what community is. Something like this happens, right away, okay, we want answers. we want these, we want the administration, we want the government, we want a report on your findings, what happened. And in the event that this is a case of somebody being negligent, not doing their duty, then that person has to be held accountable. Because today we have children going back to that school. We have children going to schools across the country. And so this is a lesson. This is a lesson. And this is also an incident that should make us better at protecting those who are now going into schools all around, especially in the case of, say, you have Stella Morris. So I'm glad that, well, there was something more that emerged yesterday, that it's not as many things are in Belize. Well, we're moving on now, because there's something else happening that is more sensational, and that will probably attention going. It's horrifying to imagine, like, that child, just what was going through, and that we lost that child. We cannot bring that little boy back. But we can do better at protecting the boys and girls who we still have going to our institutions today. And you know, it's like it would appear that, you know, and I think we completely accept and understand that it's a difficult thing. This is difficult work. But we have a call. Krem, good morning.
Morning, good evening, morning, was Stella, Hyde, very much. I really like to watch it last week.
I refused to watch the video. I knew that I couldn't handle that.
I never knew. I can't do the camera. But we talked about back to journalists, one of the hardest thing, because that really we give a visual image of the state that we community right now. I don't know the length of time, brother, but and you get different versions. I think one report said that some students that hold the child, but I would say so much. And then another report said some maybe one or two calls to the school saying that no adults there. So I don't think that's true. But
well, that is the point, right? That we give bits of this and bits of that, and I'm telling you, rest assured, we live in a society that if we know demands a certain standard of inquiry and demands a prompt and thorough report, you know, that is what should be the standard. But if we don't raise the voice, making that expectation known, we don't live in a place where we guarantee that we can get that. I'm sorry, I don't mean no disrespect to nobody, but I have to go based on the experience that I've had, and so I feel obligated to say we have to raise the voice panels. We have to say, yo, listen, we want a timely report on what the findings are for the investigation that is being conducted.
And then the part where I totally agree with what you said, but I think back to it, and I think we just, I think about it, then we used to got burned in that fire in 2015.
Nothing. There was never a report. There was not the report. That's what I'm telling you. I have to go based on the experience of it. There was no one to the public's eye that was ever said, okay, so it was just, we have to conclude that the determination was that there was no person who failed at their duty. This was just completely unavoidable, and we just have to move on like that, based on the fact that there was never, ever any conclusive report based on findings. That was never done.
And then this administration in particular, I could have, where
between me and you, I would say, like just to say, like, we know they try indict nobody without knowing details. I can't do that. I can't indict nobody. But I could tell you, between me and you, I know you got more. Your eyes open to every aspect of your experience when you go through the streets, and then you don't drive. You either walk. That's how you move about. But you got your eye peel open. That your approach to your navigating through the community. Me, I different. I got tunnel vision. Like I in my head, and just to try and make sure that I drive properly. But outside of that, I know got my head from a civil. I know to look for settings like that. So I have to admit that it's very unlikely that I would have missed that child and he may like jump on me. You understand? Like he may stand out to me like that way they go on here, something wrong here. But I would have said of all the persons where I know the person where I feel like because of just how you operate, your motives, you would have probably stop and want to talk to that child and find out the way you're going and so that's just the way it is. I don't know that me personally, I can't chastise nobody where never said that or never had the response where could I try save this child's life, you know. I just big up those who tried. According to the report, some people tried. And I have to big up them people.
Well, I know the thing where one child, but we pretty much know that's in our farm. So I identified when I cry easy, like I really cry easy, but what a sure thing when I make my water jump in for man cry. And the father, fathers, rough a lot of time as a parent.
Sure.
But here I see the father, not the wrong. So I just want to join you in solidarity to say the report have to go. It can't be used to the different report either. It has to be thorough. We as a community don't save the child from a major level. And the family, we can't fail there and we can't fail see the family. So I'll hand on deck for a meaningful report. Only the people and save the people.
Give time. This is WUB Wake Up Billy's Morning Vibes. 20 minutes after 7 o'clock. And like I said, there's never a shortage of things to talk about when you come to the show. But you never want to come here and have to talk about this. And I didn't even know if I had to do the responsible thing by saying I don't want to watch the video. I don't know if that's a good thing. But I know that I no want to it. I know that done enough one torment already. Like I don't really want to say the visual images of the last moments on this realm of consciousness for that child. And anyway, we're gonna call Krem. Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, Mose, in the name of the Most High.
Yes, brother.
This is Ramadan, Phil Negro. I think it's just my opinion, nobody has to agree with me. But Brother Malcolm X said, when you speak the truth, nobody like you. But even the devil got to respect you. We're missing in the country of belief where I live in the city most of my life between is belief. But we need, like Bernie say, Guagaba. We sharp up. A lot of people sharp up. A lot of people, they just go about their business every day. They're only concerned by themselves. They don't worry about nobody else. So we need that love, that unity, just like when you say neighborhood watch. The same thing like in the old days. Many people said in the old days, I couldn't walk by myself in the old days because my neighbor, everybody would know my mom, my day. Why were you playing? I'm not shy. They hold me and stop me, boy, you know, live so, boy, you go to school, boy, school over. They hold me, and and don't let me go. Or is I say, yeah, what, boy, if you go straight to school right now, I'll contact your man right now. So you have that respect and care for the apple. So I'm saying, love the community, the neighborhood, citywide, countrywide need that love. If you know that child, even if you don't know the parents, then you know try, you call that and say, boy, you know, this is Stella, I know ya. Stella, know the by hanger. Over here, this last year, the Wilson Street. That's too far away from Stella. But the most difficult part, as you say, is difficult to watch the video and say, difficult because you are human and you grow up with love. So you can enjoy watching a video of sorrow and pain and so. But what was more difficult and hard to me is when somebody was saying on the news that when this person is trying to contact, I don't know if they're referring to the police or what, they tell her that if she was so much interested in that child, why don't she go and get it herself? I don't know if you are part of that in some news.
I didn't see that report.
Yeah, I heard when the lady was saying, I only listen to radio, I can't watch TV.
Right.
But this lady said that she was calling some place, but I would believe it was the police she was calling. And she was told that if she had interest, why don't she go and take care of that herself? But that is very rough. No love.
I don't know. I didn't hear it. But if that is what happened, it wouldn't be surprising to me.
I think I heard it last night on the news, yesterday evening. And another thing, I applaud that man and speaking for the firemen and the illegalities that they say with payments and overtime and so, because that's what it takes too. I repeat again, like Barra Malcolm X say, you got to stand up and speak the truth. The truth is the truth and it shall set you free. One love, respect.
Give thanks. It's 45 minutes after 7 o'clock. This is the WB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. Where, like I said, you know, like Carla mentioned, if, and I need to clarify, like if I saw a child near the sea with, you know, nobody there, you're saying with a hanger, that's going to stand out more than if I see upon Princess Margaret Drive, where Princess Margaret Drive is, you know, practically all day filled with students. It would be easy to miss on Princess Margaret Drive if you were out near the hangar. Then it stands out more. Again, you hope that the investigation into this is not just on the school. If there is that report, which I've heard a bit of that somebody tried to call the emergency services, that has to be looked into as well. That has to be looked into, see if somebody was negligent at that level. Again, that's why we say the investigation has to be completely thorough. You know, it can't just be a half-done situation where, of course, by next week we're not going to be talking about this. Possibly by Friday this is no longer going to be a thing we're going to be talking about, because talk shows will have to talk about other things. The community will have to talk about other things. There are other things that will shock us into outrage or concern. That's just the reality of the life we're trotting through right now. But you who did it at the seat of responsibility, you don't have the luxury of not being committed thoroughly to finding out what has happened here. Not because we want to talk about something else in the next couple of days, or by Monday we not bring this up, means that you know, you could just do something halfway and dilapidatedly. No, this thing we have to look upon everything, and you know, at the end of the day, if people have failed, then people have to be held accountable. If people have been negligent at their station, then we need to find out, and those people have to be held accountable. That's just the way it works. 27 minutes after 7 o'clock, Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. We go to 2 Cents Calm, sponsored by 4 Point Security. We take a first break and then we come back.
You're watching WB and this is XTV. And I gotta say big respect to 4 Point Security and Euphrates Auto Rental. Big up to our sponsors. Now, the crime situation died down, but it seems like it's coming back in existence. Make we find out the people in 2 cents and see how they feel about the crime situation right now in the month of February, Black History Month.
Well, I don't know how that's when the crime stop at I just want to believe and go in peace and because just stop the crime, everybody live as one.
When you die down, you mean Jai?
Yeah, that's true. But
I think we are control it for this year?
Hopefully. But that's why the gang members just come together and have peace.
2 cents question.
Yeah.
We feel bad.
Tell me how you feel.
I one black man is dead, brother. And we kill one another for no reason.
Yeah.
So we don't have a solution to the problem, man. Can't lock up the man every minute. Can't lock up the man every minute. They only get, they only get more ignorant. They only want to do more things. Locking up there, that's not the problem. Talking to them, that's not the problem. Somebody have to influence the young boy for work, brother. Yeah. Lot of job there.
But you know and I know that the government getting a lead job now and again.
Yeah, but they don't want to work, brother. You can't get a man, you could get a man a job, but when man in come, man don't want to get up out of the bed and fuck go work. Come on, brother.
Yeah, you're 2 cents.
Yes, man.
Head back to, you know,
yeah.
plastic.
So you don't want to go back to normal, how you mean?
Well, I can't say nothing, lose a loved one, you know. So that,
Don't say. How you prepare?
Well, family, right now things really are happening now. We're to the car right now. People feel pain. Next people they feel pain.
Real.
Or then better way me to rig try fuck. No, can't enjoy yourself again. Rig.
Don't say.
You have to do something about it real
But
quick.
it may under control.
It was. But everything that's under control could be out of control also by the snap of a finger.
That's what I'm saying. People, the crime situation is going
I don't stay right there. I know you live right there, you know.
All right,
so I don't know nothing about it.
All right, good. This time.
Yeah, I feel like crime need to stop, man. Black man need to stop fighting with black man. I get together already.
When you stop?
Yeah, him stop, but he start again. Yeah, start again.
Yeah, how you family? You feel nowhere? Respect. How you family?
That's a positive.
How you?
I just want to make them bring more police back at the end of that thing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That you're All right, so I got to say big respect to everybody who support WB. Big up on yourself. Big respect to our sponsors, 4 Point Security, and Euphrates Auto Rental. All right? 2 cents come.
right, welcome back to the WB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. Mose, Hyde in the house with you on a Wednesday morning, the 5th of February, 2025. This is conversation always, so you are invited for jump in at any point in time, make that big decision and you got something we really need for say. The way you do it, just call 280-5848. First segment, we spent a little bit of time, well, not a little bit, we spent the entire segment just really kind of, unfortunately, you know, part of this, or at least a big part of this, that having to talk about very unpleasant realities, very unpleasant situations, very unpleasant incidents. Anytime involved one child, it's always the most unpleasant thing when tragedy hit one child. It's just nothing like that. And so we grieve. We definitely can't feel it like how the family feel it, but we are in a spirit of solidarity with them, knowing that they got through something where extremely terrible, and you know, for we part, we just feel like we ring the alarm bell to say, listen, look into this in every aspect and left no stone unturned. But we have one call. Krem, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Indeed, it's a tragic incident that has happened with the child. And it's one of the states that grieve, and this is happening a lot right now from what I'm seeing. One of the states that grieve is that people ask, what if this had happened, what if that had happened, especially if they themselves could have been different. But people shouldn't take it too hard, because it's just one of the states that grieve, because nobody knew, you know, the people at Kalopi, they didn't call the police, those who saw him on the street. And there are many others who we haven't heard about who saw him. None of them could have known that the child, that this should have happened with the child. So I'm just saying it to let people know to not condemn themselves too much. It's just a normal stage of grief. However, what we can use the opportunity, what we can see is that there's a lot of love in the community, because people are very concerned. But from the standpoint of that little boy, if he had a choice right now to come back to this earth, he won't want anything to do with the earth. Once we get a sample of heaven, you know, where he is, he has no more disability, he has no more hindrances, his mind is completely clear. I tell my children that, you know, after the time is over and they go to heaven, they will have streets lined up with ice cream parlor. And you could eat any amount of ice cream you want for free.
Don't you fear if we, how would you put it, that way of thinking led to its fullest completion is to say, well, then we should just be suicidal then, or how? And I don't mean that facetiously. I honestly, like, what?
Well, I don't think that line of thinking leads to that. On the contrary, those who have a conscious realization of heaven are the people who are most comforted, who strive to attain a lot in life, because they want to go to the state. They know there's a certain criteria to go there.
Yeah. But there is still let us, you know, I'm not going to get into a religious dispute any at all. What I'm just thinking is then, how do we fit into the relevance of the struggles on this realm and the purpose of maintaining oneself and doing the right things and advocating for the right things and advocating for there to be a prevention of carelessness that leads to anything like this happening again, because we want children to have the fullest experience, while at the same time saying, well, but you know, we don't really have to worry about it, because the after this realm, it's far superior. So no stress. Like, I'm just legitimately, sincerely working my way through the kind of how we balance that then.
Yes, it's a valid question and it's a good question. You know, maybe and I'll answer you with a story. But you know, even the very wealthy, every human being has been created with a desire for eternity. You see Walt Disney, who was very rich in his time, he would have been a billionaire if it was this time. He actually has his head frozen in cryogen, hoping that one day they'll be able to resurrect him. You know, the thing is, the question you're asking is very valid. How can we learn from this experience so that we can benefit even in the land of the living? I'll tell you a quick story. Jesus told a story about Lazarus and the rich man, and it shows how we should help each other in this life. Lazarus was at the rich man's gate begging for food each day, and Jesus said that he longed to eat the scraps from the rich man's table. And it came to pass that both Lazarus and the rich man died. And the rich man went to a place of torment, and he looked up and saw Lazarus beside Father Abraham. And he said, Father Abraham, let Lazarus dip his finger in water and touch my tongue because I thirst. And Abraham told him, son, there's a great chasm, a great divide between where you are and between where we are. And nobody from where you are can come to where we are. Nobody from where we are can go to where you are. And he said, then Father Abraham, I have 5 brothers left at home. Please send somebody back to warn them that they don't come to this place. Father Abraham told him, they have Moses and the prophets to listen to, that's scriptures. He said, they won't listen to Moses and the prophets. Then Abraham told him, if they won't listen to Moses and the prophets, neither will they listen to anyone who comes back from the dead. What that is showing us, Mose, is that the problem with this rich man was that he had this poor man at him. And this is talking about how we should look out for each other, as you said. The problem with the rich man, why he ended up in that place, was because he had wealth, he had resources, but he did not use it to help this poor man. This man was at his gate. Scripture said that the man was covered with sores and dogs came and licked his sores, and he longed to eat the scraps on the rich man's table. Now we know in Belize, most of us, if a poor man comes to our house, comes to our gate, we'll give them a plate of rice and beans, even with plantain. But this rich man, he was so hard that the poor man had to be longing, even for the bones on his table. That tells us that what the God wants us to do is to use whatever resources we have to help others. So there may be some wealthy people out there who are moved by this story. Then go and visit Calamari School. You will see a little guardhouse that's closed up. The guardhouse is closed up. Give your money to break down that guardhouse and build a big shed where we can have wardens sit there out in the open, maybe behind a desk, to help to look after these children. In other words, there are many who have resources, a lot of resources stored up in the bank. They need to come out and help the government and improve the situation. Not only with this situation with this boy at Stella, but there are many more. I don't see how somebody can be a millionaire and have money stored up and want another million next year. And you have so many people in so many neighborhoods living in houses that hardly have any roof, that plastic is covering the roof. I could never be wealthy, and there is so much people who are hurting. So to answer your question, Jesus shows us in the story that he told that right now in the land of the living, we need to use whatever we have to help others. The compassion that we have, the grief that we have, should move us to help others. Right. One last thing, what this shows us, for that rich man to say, that the man who used to be rich to look up and say that he has 5 brothers less on earth, and for somebody to go back and, after he even for somebody to go back and warn them. That is telling us that there is a place of judgment that people will go to immediately when they die. Right after, even while people are still here on earth, there will be a place of judgment where people will go right away. And he didn't find any comfort. Sometimes we say we don't want to go to heaven because heaven was boring. This man didn't find any comfort in his brothers going there to join him in that place of torment, because everybody will be under their own torment. So my only advice is this, for the most as I go, is that don't wait until it's too late. Don't wait until 6 strong man has to back you for the church. Go now and seek the Lord and do good with the life that he has given to you.
All right, brother. Give thanks for the call. This is WUB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. Telephone number 280-5848. Our firemen are stressed, and as a result of not being able to create the kind of agreement that assures them they did a sick out yesterday. Now, I will say this about a fireman. Having traveled many times, being privileged and fortunate to have traveled, I have a pretty, that's a fairly close bedroom that lived in California, and this is years ago, and he really wanted to be a fireman, and he had to train because unfortunately he had tried the process and he had come up short. It's as a result of that I found out two things about firemen in those places. That it's not easy to become one, but that if you become one, the reason why, one of the main motivations for my bedroom for want to be a fireman is that you become a fireman, the dollar's good. That is what it. So one, you not just get up and say I want to be a fireman and put in an application and take one lead course. Like the course itself, there never no easy course. You had to study, and then the physical course where you had to do. And in fact, one of the striking things about the fire department in the United States of America is that primarily the people who become firemen, the white men. People of color struggle to try to qualify to be because you know that it's a their thing. But that's not the conversation why they have here. Is that when you become fireman, there are people who could now afford a nice house, a nice truck. The liberty is they know. I'm not tell about them become Elon Musk wealthy or anything like that. But the dollar's good. Because the work when they do, the dangerous work. And in fact, as emergency responders, as we now know, they run in, they face death. And unfortunately, in some instances, they die. Firemen die fighting wildfires in California, and when you have, of course, one of the most famous instances where you have a lot of firemen die was the bombing of the world, the coming down of the World Trade buildings in New York, 9/11. A number of firefighters died that day. So the reason why they are adequately compensated is because, one, the requirements from them has to be demanding. Their skill level and performance level has to be maintained. And that, most importantly, is that they are required to risk their well-being as a part of their profession. Same as police officers, same as BDF soldiers. Their agreement, their job employment, their job description involves elevated risk to well-being and to life. And no community has demonstrated yesterday, where you have one, especially where you have a significant population, a certain level of residential and commercial and all of that. Your fire department has to be a well-oiled machine. So the requirements have to be demanding, they have to be well trained, and that training has to be maintained, but their machine and their tools and their housing has to be up to a standard, and then compensation to reflect the fact that when they do different than me, I compound tax you. You know, I might offend somebody, and somebody might want to threaten me when I compound tax you. That come with my profession, but I don't have one job description where say, built into this, what I do is a significant risk to my life. I know the camera now attack me one of them mornings and hurt me, and I have to be hospitalized. The lights, they now drop on my head. Better make sure they don't drop on my head. So my physical well-being is not threatened by the nature of my job. The nature of being a fireman is that you have to run into a fire. Run towards a fire. No, when you say Belizeans run for rain and run to fire. We run to fire, but no, we're not run into no building way. Fireman. Now, then gears for there down a certain level, then tools for there to a certain level. I don't know that we have ever had any kind of international level of the requirements to fight fire. So there are many times when people have all kind of things to say about with firemen, and whether they were good or not up to par when they fight one certain fire. But our job is to make sure we defend that they got everything they need, that they are properly compensated, and once that is the case, then now we could start evaluating their performance and their readiness, and their we could say, well, okay, you know the train hard enough, you know the carry yourself up to one level, you know the train, you know the study. We could then compound that. No one said, no, listen, we give you what you need. We defend that you need to have one good headquarters, one up to standard headquarters. We defend the fact that you have to make adequate compensation for the line of work we are doing. Now, when we don't tick them boxes, then we could start look at how well you fight the fire, and then we could assess you and say whether or not we think you're not good enough yet. And so the fact that the firemen have this big problem with the fact that the arrangements or the matter of overtime, the big issue for them is because obviously the main salary, this is how they make that main salary there strong enough to deal with their reality. And if you are trying to rearrange that, you can't do that if you don't factor in, well, what is the compensation package for the people who we have signing up to fight fires? And let me tell you this. In this age, we know for a fact that fighting fires, especially now we have one fire season. I don't know if you don't realize that, but we're going to fire season now, like a legitimate fire season. In a couple of months, things start to get really dry. By the time you hit April into May, everything is dry. Before you get the hurricane season, I believe you got fire season. Last year, we had major problem fire season down in Toledo. I think that play for fight, then fire there. We lose massive parts of we forest reserve. We know because of climate change, we can't now to overlook. In fact, what we're supposed to do, that reassess with the level of preparedness, the level of the standard of performance we would have, and you better make sure that you bring your wallet with you, because when you make such demands, and those demands are outside of our control now in 2025, those demands they go to our next level on our ability, whether we like it or not. They're not just to fight and protect one wooden house we catch fire anymore. So if you say, well, over time become less, okay, but now are we compensating firefighters in a way that reflects the level of risk that they are signing up for? And I'm saying to you that in 2025 that risk is going higher, and it's like being a fireman means that you in a neutral. You could play petit pat, you could play checkers, and you just to chill out, and maybe that pure chill out today, and maybe that pure chill out tomorrow, but maybe next week you have to step in a danger zone. For sure, when you get into the fire season, that they were there. You know, like in a Christmas. Another the only baby fire season. Everybody they put in wire where wire not for go. People they put in lights where lights not for go. People they play with dynamite and all kind of abstract. That only baby fire season. We lose one monk or house right there so in a Christmas. People they forget that, but people they drop asleep while and they bake turkey and they bake cake in the oven. All kind of manners that thing happen. So they're not like every day that is seeing demand, but for sure, when the bell ring, it's on. So we as a community have to say, because we need, and we have a right for demand, the best possible performance out of firefighters, we have to join a voice to say, for the work you do, you have to get a happy pay. That's life. You have to get a happy pay. You're not supposed to, like I say, that's something where I learned by traveling, because, you know, we idea of firefighting, that like, you know, so man and they leave firehouse there and put on, you know, slap on, you know, when they could slap on and run out there and fight and maybe run out of water and bag a pigtail bucket and blah, 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 blah. When you hear the states, when a 911 call, whether they want traffic accident, whether they want gunshot, you know who to get there before the ambulance? Fire engine. Then they come. They are there. We not there. Insofar as our emergency response coordination and all the apparatus, we're not there. So I weigh in. Obviously, it is an undesirable situation whenever people have their backs against the wall and feel like, well, you push me too far, I have to stand up. This matter has to be resolved. And absolutely, people who sign up for that job there, not for they're on the bottom of the pay scale or anything, ever. Because they have to risk well-being as a standard part of their operation. We're going to go to break and come back. This is Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes.
February is all about Honda. Get
9 minutes after 8 o'clock, this is the WB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. Mose Hyde hosting on this Wednesday morning, Wednesday the 5th of February 2025. Telephone number 280-5848. That's the live line for you to be a part of the conversation. The New World Order, as it unfolds almost on the hour, the New World Order, according to Trump-Musk leadership of the United States of America, the empire, reached, as far as I'm concerned, a new level with the President of the United States announcing that they will take over Gaza. And it is not a matter that is irrelevant to the interests of the nation state of Belize. Obviously, there's been significant condemnation which you will not see on any of the US mainstream media. You will not read it on any of the US-based online news platforms. But you need only to search around and you will find that there has been significant outrage. Again, outrageous statements and outrageous positions are the norm, the predictable modus operandi of President Trump. And so there's never been any shortage of mind-boggling statements, positions, whatever. So there is no surprise that such a thing would come, but that doesn't make it any less disruptive, despicable, grotesque, and dangerous. But the implications for us are extremely, should be at the very least, very, very rattling. Give respect to Ms. Sandra Corey. She has maintained for a long time that the matter of Palestinians in Gaza represent a test case, and this, they're trying to see how it works there, and then it becomes the model as to how imperialism in the 2025 version of it is going to work. The discarding of international rules and laws and norms, replacing it with you'd kind of do what you want, and let us not be bothered with any concern about looking like we are respectable or we are civil or we are based on the rule of law. Let's get that out the way. Like, why be bothered with that? That is restrictive, and in a time when we have to deal with the survival of ourselves, we cannot be bothered with that. And so you end up with something like that, where we are talking here where according to international rules, the nations of the earth have voted that there is to be a two-state solution. It's one thing for that to be ignored by the state of Israel, it's another thing for the United States of America to say, the president to say, we are going to take over this space. You will need to find somewhere else to go. And essentially we will turn it into a playground for the rich and wealthy. It will become the Riviera of the Middle East. His words. Again, this is a world, this is all the way over the next side of the world, but this is being said by the emperor, who one plane flight of an hour and a half, and we are touching down in that empire. That's how close we are. And everything we are seeing, the level of aggressiveness of their foreign policy to our region, demonstrates that everything has changed. Everything has changed in an extremely frightening way, and we better be heads up. We better go heads up and eyes open. But we have a call. Krem, good morning.
Good morning, Brother Mose.
Good morning, sir.
Brother Mose, I always emphasize the same situation that you're speaking about. In the event that there's any ruling by the ICJ favorable to Guatemala, now as we know, the Zionist state of Israel and Guatemala is two of the greatest allies of the U.S. And in the event that there are any saber rattling by the generals across our western border, I don't think that the U.S. would be in favor of Belize. And given these statements that Trump
The problem is, brother, sorry to interrupt you. The problem is that even if that best case scenario were to happen, where the U.S. would want to say, listen, we don't think you should do that. The fact is that it would not have any credibility, not even a grain of credibility, to say anything to anyone, because it is embracing an ideology of disregarding international rule. And in that, when the most powerful country on the face of the earth is embarking on that part where it says we don't care about what has been voted and debated in your United Nations, we don't care what the International Criminal Court has said, because essentially by having the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, go to Washington yesterday, it was essentially to say to the international, it's to break bond with that organization which has put out a warrant. So essentially what happened yesterday was more than what has been reported. Again, I want to repeat, because of what has taken place in the United States of America, its media has become complicit because they have been threatened and they are now completely compromised. So yes, you still read it, and even before it was this compromised, you don't just use that as your primary diet. But 2025, the value of that has been significantly reduced, and we have to be extremely careful. Do not confine your diet to that anymore, because that has come under the full control of an emperor-to-be ruling an empire. And I'm saying that because there are countries that have agreed, if Netanyahu comes here, we are duty-bound to arrest him, because that is the global arrangement. having the International Criminal Court, the ICJ. So when you have the most powerful country on earth disregarding these things, we are now entering the absolute age of no rules.
Exactly.
And when there are no rules,
Exactly. No, it is very serious, Brother Mose. It is very serious, and I would definitely concur with you that it is high time now for the world to wake up, Belize in particular, and we need to look for some alliance, whether, I'm not saying Russia or China, but we need to look for some alliance, and we need to rally. We need to rally because this threat is very serious. Look at the threat to Panama and now South Africa. So we are looking at a Third Reich, Hitler's type ideology, and he has the weapons of mass destruction to carry out his wishes. So we're going to have to do some soul searching. The Caribbean, the non-aligned movements, Africa, we're going to have to definitely liaise together to make this guy know that, hey, this is not the 15th and 16th century when you came out of Europe in your Viking ships and was conquering here and there. We gotta stand up, Brother Mose.
Listen to me, brother. Again, I just want to urge my listeners and viewers, like, don't use what I say to be that which you form your opinion on. I just want to urge you to go online and then compare how the rest of the world is reporting on this. Standard reporting. See what is being said by Saudi Arabia, France, England. See what is being said by the different publications that represent the Middle East. See what is being said and the level of outrage at what was being said yesterday. You would be stunned to know that when you watch, you do have some occasional ray of light coming out of the American media, but there's not very much coming now in 2025. This guy says anything he wants, but he said what he said. This is the second time he said it. He said it in the presence of the Prime Minister of Israel yesterday. And we must remember that he was initially, people were skeptical that he was serious when he said that he would give Jerusalem to Israel, and put his and what he would accept, and everybody lined up with that in his previous term. Now, what is incredible is that he is using as an excuse. They provided the bombs that have basically destroyed everything there. Just imagine, just for this one moment, pause, right? This is the country that provided the bombs. And now its present leader is saying, man, guess what? Better only left that place, because it's all what happened there are very unfortunate things to Ono. Now, the Ono buildings broke up. The place is completely destroyed. Best you go somewhere else. This is not a nice place to live.
That is tantamount, Brother Mose, to total madness, and I think it is high time now for other people to wake up, to get conscious to what is happening worldwide. And if you want to look at prophecy as per se, greater Israel, that certain information we had from about 10 or 15 years ago, Belizean people, wake up, young Belizean people, black brothers and sisters in particular, instead of massacring yourself, you need to hold it down. You need to get conscious to see what is happening so we would be able to safeguard our children's children and the territory that we have as Belize. This is the only piece of this real estate that we have. Brother Mose, I'm going to listen to you off the air, my brother. I appreciate the time so much. You have a blessed day.
Let me just say that there are independent voices. You're not going to find them on the mainstream media. You're not going to find them in the mainstream publications, but there are voices of conscience coming out of America that you can find. I find a number of them on YouTube. I find a number of them on a platform called Substack, where you have voices within the United States of America who are expressing this outrage. So I have to be extremely balanced in that regard. They understand the extent to which things are being dismantled, both their internal norms and the global norms are being absolutely dismantled. Of course, we got our own in-house worries, struggles, problems, pain, issues. Yes. I have a call. Krem, good morning. WB.
Good morning. I don't see it as madness. I see it as part of a plan. Let's go to the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Hasn't that area, Rwanda, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the Sahel, hasn't it had a long history of disorder and chaos where they have assassinated promising young leadership during the last 75 years? I'm going to only use that as the from 1945 when the new order is supposed to have entered into existence.
The richness of their earth has been a curse. The richness of their earth has been a curse to them.
Exactly. Now, what happened in the last, towards the end of Mr. Biden's presidency? Out of nowhere, the world learned that Mr. Biden was going to visit Africa. And he went to inaugurate or lay the foundation for a central to western coast transport line, a railway. And he said, I heard his speech, that that railway would serve to move the mineral wealth, among other things, to the west coast. That's what he said. But what I found strange at the time was, why are you running this line from the DRC to the west coast through your allies, particularly the Portuguese ex-colonies, when there is this immense contention with Rwanda? Well, I remember Rwanda is the favorite, Paul Kagame is as favored a child as Benjamin Netanyahu is, and as Mr. Bukele is, as favored. So what did we have happening in the last week or two more? Not Rwanda moving in, it had happened before, and they pushed them out. Moving in again to take over, and they have told us that they are going to go to the capital. That's the aim, to get to the capital. Bearing in mind that the financial records show that Rwanda's wealth is coming sold into Europe with European powers and the U.S. having an interest in that situation there in Rwanda, show that their ability to sell the mineral wealth that they are selling, and the bulk of it is coming out of the
DRC. So then Mose isn't Rwanda's move into the DRC and attempt to consolidate territory over which the powers, and particularly the United States, will have control because they have the ideal kind of person to lead in place there.
Take out the ethnic and religious differences that exist. Take out the ethnic and religious differences between Israel and Palestine. The Rwanda model is an identical replica of the Israel model.
Exactly, Mose. Exactly. And so what presents itself to my mind is an expansion of U.S.-owned real estate by virtue of that. Nothing different to what Hitler did. Nothing different. Where you create a series of vassal states. States who come under your power and control and say, yes, master, no. That is what you have there. That is what we have there, and that is what we have in Israel. So now we know, or we wouldn't be wrong to analyze that the demolition, even the ideal word, the demolition of Gaza was to create real estate for the United States of America. Isn't that what we're seeing?
Well, they say if you walk like one duck and quack like one duck, it's a duck, no?
Yes, at a price of total disregard for human life, and that is not new. You can study the history of China and Russia and Europe, and when East Africa was being expanded into one massive empire, it was the same thing. So the capacity of these humans for utter brutality and disorder in order to secure their survival is what is on display here. They don't care the price. They don't care the price. And so now it's already, whereas before, only we're saying it, but the rest of the world can't see it, and they're telling you there's a grand spiritual order to this thing. Which spiritual order is there? What you're seeing there in Israel playing out is identical to what the Romans did 2,000 years ago. Nothing different. As a matter of fact, you and I are experiencing this historical moment because of that historical moment 3,000 years ago. And this is where I end for our leadership, and leadership in the Caribbean and Latin America. When Rome entered ancient Judea, it entered ancient Judea because it was known in the Eastern Hemisphere at that time, from the shore of the Atlantic up to the shore of the Pacific, that ancient Judea was a wealthy land because of the tithe, the 10% that Jews turned over to the temple. But they were not spending the money as it was supposed to be spent on defense. No, they were keeping that money and hoarding it just to be important leaders. Well, Rome said, I want that money, and came for the money. And when she got there, she decided the ruling class, the Sanhedrin, they decided they don't fight off at all. Because they hadn't been doing what they were supposed to do. So they yielded to Rome. And then Rome says to them, you know something, that God you all adore, win us into that God. You're going to raise the statues of our God. Literally said that. And the ancient Judeans, horrified that their leadership had agreed to that, said, no way. You have been told that that temple is to have no images, no statues, nothing that can even faintly begin to dispute the existence of the God we
We believe it. And that's what led to that vote. That's what led to a revolutionary a jihad. The zealots were the Jewish equivalent of the modern Islamic jihad. Said so, and they went to war and were laid siege to. And they laid siege, and when Rome moved into Jerusalem, the dead were piled high. The Jews committed suicide, over hundreds of them committed suicide in a place called the Masada rather than yield to Rome. So when the leadership of a society hasn't got its head together, they lay the foundation for that whole society's destruction. And because of that, and the dispersing of the Jews and the slaughter of the Samaritans, it is that would lead Christianity to Rome. In the end, Rome fell to the Judean-Christian onslaught. That is what happened there. So when leadership doesn't have vision, the Judean rule, where there is no vision of people shall perish, apply. And that is what you're seeing in our region. We are seeing leader after leader because we have not built the good societies we could have built. We have the resources, we have the intelligence, we have the population. We haven't done it. Oh no, we're too busy. Our leaders have been too busy just fortifying themselves, their families, and as Yaya said, friend and company. That's what we have been doing. So now we don't have the resilience to take this on. Because to take this on needs a unified region. Unified. But we haven't got that. So here we have one of our own people, because they are our people, offering his jail to lock up the bad man out of the king. So if it weren't so pricey, it is funny. Anyway, that's my position. Bye-bye.
Thank you. It's 8:36. We're back.
In Belize, we value our families. We value our
It's 8:48, Belize. This is WUB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes, Wednesday morning, the 5th of February, 2025. Glad you made it. If you're just joining us, if you've been here from the first minute, oh, we love you. Yes, whether you're to listen to Cremator or to watch XTV, it's great having you on board. To the people who watch it on YouTube, we got to keep on repeating, like, no watch and no subscribe. Watching is nice, subscribing is, that's the ultimate, right? I know cost you a penny, no strings attached. It's just make the relationship official. It strengthens us to strengthen you, all right? Make the conversation stronger. Subscribe or follow us on Facebook, okay? Great. Again, we repeat, the telephone number is 280-5848. And this morning, for those who are just coming into the house, the Zinc House, we've spoken on the horrific, tragic loss of a 6-year-old child, autistic child from Stella Morris. We doubled down on our need to have a thorough investigation and for those findings to be made public in a reasonably quick amount of time, on a short period of time, as long as it's thorough, no? And then we speak a little bit on the situation with the fire service, and then we ventured into a bit of the relevant geopolitical things, which more so than ever. I don't think we have spoken about things happening in Washington. We've spoken more about this in the past month than we probably have spoken about it over our first 25 years combined. I know that that is hyperbole, but it's probably closer to fact than not. We have had to spend some time talking about these people, and we are completely confident that we are obligated to. This is not anything on a tangent. This the right in front of we with direct implications for we are and our well-being and survival. It no matter if you make the connections they're right there if you want to spend enough time for just look at it, right? Does not matter talking these things to sound like you know things. It's a matter of talking things where you feel like have some very serious implications for we. And with the little time we have before we have to go to a final break and wrap up, one of the demands that we have to make the leadership of the country is that nothing behind closed doors, nothing behind curtains when it comes to with them people here, they engage you with. We cannot know till when you make one announcement of A or B on matters related to the empire. And there are other things, but I had a demand on this particular matter because of just how crucial the times are. Nothing behind closed doors, nothing behind curtain. When they come to you with it, you come to we with it. When they threaten you with anything, tell we what it is. When they make demands, make we know. Right away. Right away. Because this is not just about uno. This is all away. We're going to take a final break, come back and wrap up.
I'm Randall Friesen and I manage Westwell Produce, better known as Granny's Food.
right, welcome back. Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. Once the morning effort is complete, we now part ways with you. WUB continues tomorrow morning in the good hands of Brother Nuri Mohammed, and on Friday as well. With health and strength, I will come back on Monday morning. We hope you have a great Wednesday. Quick, we got to acknowledge the team. Larry G does the thing on the second flat, Creme Radio's technician or engineer and man of so many different things. The glue, Cliff, and at the control, Mr. Alexi Belide. We hope you have a great Wednesday. Stand strong, stand firm. For now, we're gone!
Wake up, Belize. 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 Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself. This is a show my people. Believe our hopes so to needless reason. Nobody feel left out. It's the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes to